Hey everyone, welcome to Create Custom Brand Images with AI and Midjourney. I am Diane Whidden, your host, and I'm going to be walking through a whole bunch of tips and tricks and prompting ideas to get us to create some really gorgeous branded images to up-level our websites and graphic design projects. So I'm going to jump in. So first of all, welcome everybody. Let me know if you can't see the links for the slides in the chat. I've got the public link for the slides, and then I also have the link for the Midjourney prompt sheet that we're gonna have there. So let's get started. Okay, so let me present and share my screen. All right. All right, so this is going to be all about how to create branded images with AI. So creating images that have the sort of same style and feel, and what we need to do in our prompts to get Midjourney to give us like really great results for our graphic design projects. So you're in the right place if you're tired of searching for the same generic stock photos as everyone else and using like tone and style and things like that to change things. You want to create a suite of custom branded images for you or your clients, and you have at least a little bit of basic knowledge of Midjourney, because I'm not going to spend too much time on that. I'm not going to spend any time on it. Actually, if you've never tried Midjourney before, take Rory Flynn's Midjourney mastery course, and there's a link in this, and it's I can't recommend that course enough. It's amazing. He starts at the beginning and then just goes to advanced stuff. It's really great. So anyway, this is about me. I'm a web designer. I've been doing it a long time. I'll let you read this later if you want to. I want to go ahead and get into the content. The stuff we're going to learn today is what makes images cohesive and branded, how to get that effect in Midjourney with SRFs, how to prompt for all the images you'll need to build a website, what kind of images are included in a website brand image suite, and more tools and resources for building your skills. So really quickly, I want to make sure you guys can see my screen okay. And first of all, let me know if you guys can see the screen, and then let me know if you guys see the links in the chat for the slides and stuff, because I have to toggle back and forth to see the comments in the chat. So I'll just keep revisiting back and forth. So let me know if you have any issues with that stuff. Okay. All right, so I'm going to keep going. So what's in a brand? So I know, I mean, if you're a designer, you're probably pretty clear on what's in a brand and what makes images cohesive. But when I started working in Midjourney, I needed to kind of revisit this and get it clear in my mind in a new way, because that really helped with the prompting. So bear with me for a second, and let's just review this really quickly. So images are branded and cohesive when they're similar in subject matter and artistic style and light tone, feel, that kind of thing. If you look at this landing page, this is the landing page that actually inspired this whole workshop. Let me pull it up really quickly, because so I did this project with Bloom Bauer, and she created this image in Midjourney and loved it so much. Excuse me. And we just decided we wanted to create everything on the page to kind of mimic it. And so we used that image as a reference image to create all these other things. And we messed around with style weights and different things, and I'm going to go into all of that stuff. But this is why the whole page looks really cohesive and clear and has a lot of like really fun details and stuff. So anyway, this is the page that kind of started it all. Okay, so back to slides. Let me make sure you guys are with me. Yes. Lenore says yes. Awesome. Fantastic. Okay. So that's kind of what we're looking for, is to guide Midjourney in doing all of these things at the same time. The way we're going to do that is we're going to use an SRF to make everything match. And there are a couple different ways to use SRFs. So SRF stands for style reference. And there are a few different things to do. So there are three sort of main ways to do this. Of course, there's tons of ways to do anything in Midjourney, but there are three main ways: codes, images, and mood boards. Now, Midjourney announced mood boards and the personalization to create mood boards literally the day I announced this workshop. So we will not be covering mood boards today, but I have two links for you. This is Midjourney's official guide to personalization and mood boards. And then this is Meg Ball's video tutorial on YouTube. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm sure it's amazing. Everything she does is stellar. So if you want to learn more about mood boards, I'm sure I'll do a tutorial on that at some point, but we won't be doing it today. So what we're going to start with first is SRF codes. Okay, so these are SRF codes, these big long numbers that you see, and this is how we prompt for them in Midjourney is the dash dash SRF and then the big long number of the code. And to find SRF codes that you like, I love to experiment. If you just prompt for SRF random, you can get all kinds of fun stuff. It's a really kind of fun way to play around in Midjourney. That's how I found all of these. The prompt that I used was just the word butterfly, that's it. And then it gave me these random codes. And you can see, here's what I want you to look at when you're looking at the SRF codes. It's more than just color and like artistic style, right? It also prompts for like subject matter in the foreground, the midground, and the background. So you can see these two are really different in composition. First of all, this is a little more realistic. It's almost got like an animated feel where this almost feels like acrylic paint. So there's a different artistic style for sure. But this one has a really clear, detailed background of like rainforest. And this one is an isolated image. This one, we've got this weird mosaic effect in the background and really not a lot of background at all, right? In these, not really any midground or background. This one, there's a pretty clear background going on back there. She seems to be outside, but I love that this SRF code in terms of subject matter is heavily prompted for humans in it, because like I said, all I used was the word butterfly and I got a girl. She's got butterflies flying around her head, but this is what I got. And then of course it also includes colors and tone and feel and things like that. But so this is the kind of stuff when you're working with these big long numbers, these are the kind of things to look for when you start playing around with them. And if you use a simpler prompt, you really get to see more of what the code has in it. Like if I prompted for a whole bunch of things, it would be a little bit harder to see that, oh, you know, this really likes sort of simpler images or flatter images, and this has this background and, you know, whatever. Okay, so let's keep going. So where do you find SRFs? So I've got a couple links for you here, creator impact, and this is another link, SRF style. My favorite place to find them is to search on LinkedIn. You can search on Twitter too, but I love LinkedIn. There are some really smart, amazing AI people on LinkedIn who are doing really incredible work. And I like Drew Brucker comes to mind. Like he loves SRF codes, and he very, very frequently will do these deck posts where he'll have all the different SRF codes, and you can see examples of them, so you can get a really good feel for the kind of style in each one. It's a really fun place to go look for things. And then of course, my favorite way is SRF random. So let's look at what actually happens when we start prompting for these. So let's assume, for the sake of argument, for the sake of this experiment, let's assume this is someone's logo, right? And you're building a website for them and you want to make sure that everything kind of matches this logo. So we can start prompting for the different things. Now, again, these are really simple prompts. What is in quotes is literally what I prompted for. Icons and this style. And that's what I got. Same thing, backgrounds and that style. And this is what I got. Graphics, background textures. Now let's look here at these items a little bit more closely and you'll see some more stuff. So I'm noticing that like in at least a couple of these, we have water that's part of the subject matter, and sort of tropical leaves and flowers and stuff going on, even in the icons. So we've definitely got a sort of tropical feel here, plus the color scheme is kind of tropical too. So that's kind of interesting. This is a kind of interesting background too. But if we're building a website or social media images, like a suite of social media images, and this was her logo and color scheme, and we created these would run kind of hot, right? Like if her whole Instagram feed is filled with images that look like this, it might be a little overwhelming. It would certainly be overwhelming on a website. So It's good to use the SRF code as the style reference, but to make things more subtle, we start assigning weight. So that means it's a dot dot or dash dash SW after the SREF code. So you put in the SREF code and then put in S weight, whatever, the number 1 to 100. And now you start to play with things. You start to get a little bit more variety. So with S weight 60, we're still looking a lot like these images, but these images are really green and yellow, period. That's it. And in this one, we're starting to get some pinks. We've got a little bit, tiny bit more realism in this one here. These are still pretty paint heavy, but even in the icons, there's a little more pink, a little bit more just different colors that are working. When I lower the weight to 20, we start to get a lot more variety. So this one, while it certainly matches this, the colors and schemes and tone and everything in here, it's a very different image. Same here, we're finally losing the tropical theme. We're getting a forest, we're getting some prairie. So S-weight 20 is where you can actually start prompting for different things. And I think for these, actually, I think my prompt was still just graphics. Oh, it was the same, actually. So it was all these 4 things, but I just did them over again. So you can see these are obviously backgrounds. This is probably graphic. And then this is icons again. So you can see that's okay. So I think that's probably it. Let me see if anybody, I'm going to toggle back. Does anybody have questions at all? Let me know. Okay, I'm going to keep going. Okay, so weight is how you can start to pay more attention to your prompt, but still get the color, tonality, subject, sort of all of that stuff with the style reference. So let's look at some practical applications here. So with the S weight of 20, so I started over here in this top right with just a desktop, top-down view, computer, other desk elements in the style of a stock photo. And this is what we got. Now I'm really intrigued by these are the 4 images that Midjourney gave me in a single prompt from this SREF code. These like are really South Beachy. It's really interesting. I don't know what's going on here. And then this one's very old world, old timey. It's very strange to me. But here's what I want you to notice. So with the weight of 20, even in this one, we still have the same color scheme. If you were designing a sort of old-timey website, like let's say that this is her logo, but her aesthetic is more like this is going to work great on her site. This could be a great background image. If she's more neon, beachy, and of course you'd be prompting for that in the prompt, right? This is part of the reason I'm getting such varied results, is because these prompts are super, super simple. So if you see this and you like it and you're like, oh no, this is her vibe, then you start prompting for that and you'll get more images like this. You could also use this as a style reference and see what that does. So, okay, so let's assume that, she's not South Beachy and maybe she's kind of boho. So I've written a prompt here. Again, it's really simple, but just a boho home office, computer, office items. And this is what we're getting. Now, again, here's why I love this technique so much. If this is her logo and you want everything to kind of match this, and you're getting photos that look like this, even though this is just a boho home office, the yellows are spot on. The leaves are spot on. They're like, seeing this is not going to jolt you as you scroll down a web page. And that's the kind of thing you get when you use generic stock images. It's hard to match the tonality and color scheme and everything. And it's just beautiful. I mean, look at what it did with the sun and stuff. I think that's some of the tropical stuff coming in. But anyway, so you can kind of start to see what that style reference at a lower weight is capable of. And this one, I just included this one because this was funny. So I've just prompted for a photograph of a desktop, top-down view, because I wanted it to look very stock photo-y. Same style reference, but S weight of 10. So, I mean, it gave me a black image, right? Look at this desk. It's so minimalist, which is fine, but it's black and it's everything. And it's like, well, where, how, what is it doing? How is it pulling in this? I don't understand. Literally just the leaves. It gave me these hyper realistic photorealistic leaves. So we've got some tropical with that. So when I find that when you put the weight under like 15, your results start to go a little wonky because it doesn't know which part of the style you want it to pull in. It's like, do you just want tropical? Do you just want teal? I don't know. I don't know. Here, try this. So anyway, so keep it to 15 to 20 and maybe 15 to 30 to get better, more branded results. Okay. So now let's play around with an advanced trick. So these are the two images I messed with for this prompt. But what I did is I weighted this one 3 times. And you do that with the double colon here, if you can see at the end of the prompt. So we've got photograph, same boho home office, same everything as the other prompt. But I just put this is 1 and this is 3. And you can see what it did. Kept this color scheme pretty close. And it's a little, I feel like watercolory like this is, but obviously it's really pulling from this one. And that's why we've got these like crazy lines in the back. It's also why I did the pencils this way. I see this pattern echoed in how it put the paper on the desk, how the shadows are. I mean, it really tried. It did a pretty good job. Now, I didn't assign a weight here, which is why, you know, there's drawing on the walls. And I don't know how practical this image would be in real life, but if we try it again and assign a weight, we get some kind of cool stuff. So we get flowers, first of all, which I think, I'm assuming that flowers are probably a part of this. I mean, they're obviously in this too, but I think they're probably a part of this one as well, because both of them, it gave me a lot of flowers when I put these together. But with an S weight of 20, this is a lot more usable. This is a lot more doable. And again, I'm seeing echoes of this gold color scheme, but I'm still seeing echoes of this too. And of course, they both have gold. I probably should have used something completely different here so that you could really see how it brought both of them in. But I'm seeing those colors echoed in the wood, the art in the back here, the leaves back here. Again, this is going to be different than using just a regular stock photo you find somewhere. Even this image, I mean, even if you don't use this for whatever reason, even if you black this out in Photoshop or something, the rest of the desk is not going to fight with the rest of the images on the site. And again, if you're creating a boho site and we did something like this, that'd be perfect for somebody's about page. So, okay. So that gives you some insight into how to use, you know, the different SRF codes and like, you know, how to use them, weight them, and how to use multiple ones if you want to. You can get some really fun textures when you do that kind of stuff. So, okay, so now we've talked all about codes. So now let's look at images. And this is where it can get really fun. And because StreamYard, because of the way I'm doing this webinar, we're not all on the screen together. I can play with your images if you want me to, but drop it in a Google Drive and get a link and then send that to me, and then we can, and tell me in the comments like what you want me to do with the image, and then we can play with it. And let me actually go back to, do we have any other questions or anything? Nope, we're doing good. Okay, I'm going to keep going. Okay, so that's all about code. So now let's talk about images. It's the same skill set. It's the same thing. It's the same techniques. It's the same everything. But instead of using numbers, we're actually going to use an images reference. And this is what Bloom and I did on the 30-day marketing thing, is she made that first image, and that's the image that we used as the reference for the whole thing. Okay, so you can see that there. This is what created the rest of the site. And this image obviously was created with that one as an S reference. And I don't think with weight. That's why there's so many crazy flowers and everything. So to make everything match, you still want to use the SREF from an image. So you want to upload your image to Midjourney if it's not already there, and get the image link. And then you use style reference, and instead of the number, you're going to put the link to the image and use it as a style reference. Again, you want to assign a weight from 1 to 100. Like I said, I recommend 15 to 20, 20 to 30, something like that. Play with it and you'll see what you get. So before we start playing with some of this live and experimenting a little bit, I want to just break down a little bit of what's in a prompt. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but again, you know, just a little bit of prompt theory is, I think, really useful right here. So let's keep going. So if you break down a really good prompt, all the different sections of a good prompt, You've got like image type, subject, scene, action, environment, color, tone, texture, whatever you're looking for there, camera, film, or artistic style or artist, lighting, time of day, time of year, mood, emotion, and then composition. And you can learn more about prompting with my AI illustration cheat sheet. That's a link, and it's also in the chat, so you can download that. And there's a lot of what I'm talking about now is in there, and then it also breaks down like the guidelines and all kinds of stuff to use in Midjourney. So please download that and use freely. And then something to keep in mind. Oh, and something else to actually, you know what? Let me look at that really quickly. So here's your let's go up here. Here's your cheat sheet. This is the cheat sheet. And so I go into some beginning basics and stuff, commands, parameters. If you're familiar with Midjourney, this is all stuff that you know. This is Midjourney's link again to the personalization and mood board stuff if you want to learn it. Tools, using images as prompts. Again, we might talk about some of this, but you can also blend and describe. Blend is actually a really fun thing to play with when you're using images. Anyway, general tips when it comes to prompt theory, these are kind of good things to know. Remember that MJ will weight things at the beginning of the prompt as more important than things at the end. So in this, where am I? In this, it'll naturally weight these things as more important than these things. That's fine, because in most prompts, this is the thing that's more important than this. But I was once trying to create an image where I wanted like a dragon in a cave, but I just wanted to see the eyes and then like the dragon's tail like coming around in the corner of the image. But because I'm used to prompting this way, I kept, putting the dragon, talking about the dragon first and dragon in the cave and the whole thing. And I kept getting like this big dragon front and center and maybe kind of ducked in a cave, but you could see the whole dragon. Like that was what Midjourney's, look, you're talking about this first. I'm assuming this is what you want this image to be about. And when I realized what I was doing and I moved the dragon to the end, so I described the cave and it was dark and it's in a forest and blah, blah, blah. And like in the cave you see, and I moved it way down here, way, way, way at the end in the cave, you see 2 yellow eyes. And then in the corner, there's a tiny like tail sticking out or something. And then I got what I wanted. So keep in mind that the structure of the prompt matters too. And then, okay, so let's keep going. You can technically write up to 80 items for MJ to track and create. They're called tokens. So you can put 80 things, technically things in a prompt, and Midjourney will remember all of them. It's supposed to remember all of them, but in my experience, you will lose some of that. The longer the prompt, especially if it gets kind of convoluted, Midjourney can lose track of things. There's an exception to that. We're going to talk about that next. But if being exact is important, refine your prompts, make them a little more brief, a little more direct. You want them developed. If you want more developed and creative images, what I say is write a sonnet. But if being exact is important, keep it brief. Remember that changing one thing will likely change a lot of things. This was another interesting thing I learned about Midjourney, is that the exact same prompt in a different aspect ratio will change the composition of the prompt. It will change the prompt. So if you ask for the exact same thing in a square, and then you ask for it again in like a widescreen horizontal landscape image, you're going to get different results. Certainly the composition is going to be very different, but a lot of times Midjourney will mess with subjects and a lot of things just because you change one thing. So keep that in mind too. If you're not getting the results you want, keep playing, change with other things. If you're going for sharp resolution, Midjourney's getting better and better at this, but this used to be a real problem. If you prompted for high resolution, highly detailed, intricate, you would get better results. You wouldn't get the kind of mushed faces and blurry feet and things like that. --R with a number will run the prompt however many times you say. So if you're experimenting with an idea and you don't want to keep putting it in, you can do that as a shortcut. And then this is a nice shortcut too. If you put things in brackets, Midjourney will run multiple prompt requests at once. So if you said, imagine a tiger, a lion, a puppy running through the forest, it'll run 3 prompts, 1 for each. So just things to keep in mind, and then how to structure a prompt. I go into much more detail here of what is on the slides. And then this is the cool thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about. So let's keep going. Oh, let's talk about this first. Okay. So this is what I was saying with more detail gives you better prompts in generally. Again, if you want to get really exact with something, don't confuse Midjourney with too much stuff. But if you want really beautiful images, better prompts are typically longer prompts. So here's a pretty simple prompt. Glass butterfly on a rusted gear, iridescent teal. Yay, it's very cool. We like it a lot. It's awesome. Nothing really wrong with these images. It's pretty, it's gorgeous. They're great. It's very interesting, fun image. But when I put this in Claude and said, give me something more, give me some more detail, these images are on a whole other level. So we've actually got a different perspective. We've got a shallow depth of field. We have more variety going on in the background because we're looking into the room. We've got iridescent, like translucence on the wings, and we've got a more interesting perspective. So we're looking more at the side. I mean, there's just more complexity in these images than there is in these. So food for thought. Longer, more detailed prompts will give you better quality images, certainly more interesting images. And then I have an example for you here. So, and you don't have to do it all on your own. I include the cheat sheet because I think it's really useful to know and understand prompt theory and understand all of the things that can go into each one of these. But if you had to think this up every time for every prompt, it would be exhausting. So there is a shortcut. So we get ChatGPT or Claude to help. So when I put in, so let's say I have this idea for outdoor product photo shoot for athletic sneakers. I want it motivating, lots of movement, energizing. That's all I know. That's all I care about, but that's what I want. I put that exactly into Midjourney and I got this, which it's really not great. I mean, these are pretty boring images. I mean, I feel like I've seen this 8 million times. This is mildly interesting, but I don't know that it's a product photo shoot. This kind of is, but it doesn't have the vibe. I mean, it's energetic in the color scheme, but she's not doing anything. And we don't have sneakers at all, which I mean, could actually kind of be an interesting image for the website somewhere, but I mean, if we're really trying to feature shoes like this, it's not going to get it done. So we take this idea, this verbatim, and we plug it into Claude or Chat. And tell Claude or Chat, use this prompt structure. And I got this, and this prompt is on your cheat sheet. So, oops, let me close that. So use this prompt structure to create a detailed, thorough prompt for Midjourney and then describe your image idea. And this is where I put in outdoor product photo shoot, blah, 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 blah. And then this is what I got. Way better, right? Now this is the font, this is the prompt that it came up with, and it's good. I don't have any problem with it. It's great. But if I had to come up with this, like every time I wanted to prompt for something, I'd lose my mind. So look, I mean, this is great. Like it came under this is action shot. It's energizing. I didn't prompt for colors or anything. This is where like a style reference would be really important and influential if you were trying to match a certain vibe or time of year or whatever. But just with the difference in prompts, I mean, I love this. This is what I wanted when I was thinking this. But I mean, that just doesn't deliver. But that does. So keep that in mind. So when you're looking for prompts and stuff, you can get Claude or Chat to help. So, okay. And then I think maybe it's time to play, because I was going to go over what's in a website too, but I think we can do that after. So let's actually go into Midjourney and make some images. Let me see if anybody has any questions. No questions? Anybody questions or anything? Not yet? Okay, let me keep going. Let's play, because I found some fun things to play with. So, okay. All right. So let's go here. Okay, so we're in Midjourney. So this is alpha. I'm just still kind of new to alpha. I have really been exclusive to Discord for like a really long time. It's all I've used. I get comfortable with something and I stick, man. But when I started to want to teach workshops on this stuff, I'm like, okay, I've got to learn alpha. So we're in alpha. Let me find the images that I was going to use, because I think I want to say I saved them. Oh, and of course I hid the bookmarks bar. Oh, I'm hilarious. Let's actually, I wonder if they're still here. Oh, fantastic. Okay, yay. Okay, so let's scroll up a little bit, because this was the first one that I saw that I thought was so good. I found this ring that I was like, that is a fantastic product. I would totally make, oh, it's this one. Look at how cool that is. I just thought that was so much fun. So, okay, so let's go ahead and take this image. So let's assume that we've got a client who wants to sell these or some version of these or something like that. And so we want to just create some images for their site, so we don't have to get stock images. So let's say copy image URL, because we want the address, right? And then let's go to create. And let's say, well, you know what, actually, well, let's go ahead and paste that, actually, so we have it. Okay, and see, so here you can see that it's picking it up and it's assigned it. So if you scroll over this, you can see it's looking at different ways that it wants to use the photo. And the style reference one is this one. Oh, and it even says, use image prompt, shift for multiple. This is style ref. Oh, it says C-SRF. There we go. That's what we want. If you use it as an image reference, first of all, you can't set a weight to it, first of all. So there's that, but it also kind of brings in a lot. Like, it kind of is willy-nilly. If you really want control over the style, I would recommend doing this. Okay, so let's say this is their product and we want to create some images for their site. So what are the kind of things that they are likely to want? So let's go to Claude. And we'll go to the cheat sheet, and we will copy this. And we will go to Claude and we'll say new chat, and we will say, paste that, use this prompt structure to create a detailed, thorough prompt for, let's say, a ballroom party, fancy people dancing, the vibe is luxe. Well, let's say happy, and that's all the creativity I have in my brain right now. So let's see that. Okay, so use this prompt structure to create a detailed, thorough prompt for a ballroom party at a fancy people dancing. The vibe is luxe, happy, for a, let's say, grand ballroom party, and let's see what it does. Okay, it keeps doing this. Great. Put it all in one paragraph. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay, so let's go back to Midjourney and let's put in that. And then we're going to say, and that's a style reference. And then let's say we're going to assign it a weight of 20, and let's see what we get. And it automatically assigns a chaos of 20 so that we get some variation in the photos. You can take that out if you want to, but I think it's kind of nice to see the different variation of stuff. And then it made it a stylize of 150. For something like this, stylize gives Midjourney more permission to use its pretty filter, of what it thinks will look good. That it's from 1 to 1,000. Once you get over about 150, it starts straying from your prompt and moving more towards like what it thinks you should have. And it can really mess with your results. Okay, so these are kind of fun. Okay, so I'm noticing, so we didn't get photorealism, which is fine because I didn't prompt for that. I didn't ask for that. We can fix that if that's something we want. Check this out. I mean, that's going to look great. That's going to look great with that image, right? That image of that ring. That's going to look great with that image. It's going to blend right in. I love that. That's not bad either. Okay, so let's tweak this. So let's click on that. Okay, and so imagine, let's do one more. A highly detailed photograph of an opulent. Okay, that's cool. And then let's also mess with the, since this would likely be like a background photo, AR16. So that's the widescreen aspect ratio. And then well, let's just stick with that. And then we'll say S-weight 20 again, because that gets some good. Oops, can't do S-weight without it. Oh, because I didn't do the image. And then let's see if we can, there we go. If I click on this, there we go. Okay, highly detailed, did that, yeah, photograph. Okay, and then let's fix the aspect ratio again. 16.9, and then S-weight 20, and let's see what happens. And then, so that's going to give us maybe some background images, but let's also prompt for, so let's do it again, and let's prompt for background textures. And let's just see what it comes up with, honestly. S-weight 20, and then let's also mess with the aspect ratio, because if we're doing background textures, we're going to want it to be widescreen. And let's see what that does. And let's come down here and look at what it did. Much better. Much better. More photography. Fun. I mean, that's fantastic, right? It's pretty. I mean, it's beautiful. It's pretty. It's a little, I mean, especially this one with the, I love the perspective on this from the floor. That's another thing. So it's like, okay, well, now I like this from the floor. So now we could prompt for that. We could prompt for floor view or high angle view, because you could tell the quote unquote camera where to go. Very cool. I don't like that one as much. But anyway, those are pretty great. Would be really fun background images if you were building a site that had this sort of like whimsical, sort of like luxe feel. Okay, this is interesting. Okay, don't really, I would want it more to match these. So, okay, which is fine. Still, that's kind of, that might be kind of fun. So if we were trying to match this, so I would pull something more from this. Okay, so let's try. So let's try background, textures. And then let's say comma. And again, I could be using Claude for this. 19th century. Let's do another comma, European. Look at this, marble columns, soaring, crystal chandeliers, floor-to-ceiling mirrors, elegant. Okay, let's take the couples out. Let's see what it does with this. This is probably, let's add some warm golden candlelight. And I don't want to prompt too much, because I don't really want it to create a picture. I want it to create slightly elevated perspective. I don't care about any of this. Okay, so let's get rid of all that. Okay, so candlelight. And then we're going to say it again. We're going to say S-weight 20. They are 16.9. Oops, I do that a lot. And let's make sure we grab the image. And let's see how that works. Fantastic. Okay, and let's scroll up. Now let's go ahead and do another one. So let's say website icons, and then let's reference this. And then let's say, oh, and it pulled the whole prompt. Actually, let's keep the same prompt. Website icons. Okay, so it's giving us the ballroom thing again, which is fine. That's not bad either. I mean, you know, more good background images. Website icons, comma, website icons, opulent 19th century. Let's take off the, I want to take off the nouns. Yeah, there we go. Let's do that. Website icons. And then let's say S-weight 20. And then we'll keep it square. The aspect ratio, keeping it square usually means that you're going to get better better results. Okay, and let's try this one more time. Background textures. You know what we could do for this that's kind of interesting? We could say tile. Let's see what it does if we say tile. You know what tile does is it creates a pattern. And so that might give us more fun things. Too much stuff. Okay, so let's just try website icons. Website icons. Isolated, no background. And put that in there. We're still getting a lot of pretty images. Not quite what I want. Let's do this. Is this? Oh, look, that's a tile. That's kind of fun. That's kind of interesting. That's kind of crazy. So it's repeatable, right? That's what it's doing, is it's creating repeatable things. Here we go. So now we're getting into, and you can see that's our image we're trying to match. We've got icons that match it. Now, depending on how much you like any of these, obviously you start prompting for different things, you know, to change them up, switch them up. These are obviously a little more like photorealistic. Those are cool. That's kind of fun. And then we've got like actual literal, like these just really look like icons. They still look photorealistic in a way, but that's very fun. Okay, so let's try a couple more. Let's try textured backgrounds, and let's keep the tile, and let's say textured background, opulent, ornate, gold leaf, detail, warm, golden, candlelight. Let's see, oops, candlelight. And let's see what we get. Let's see what we get with this textured background. We're doing tile, and let's assign the weight. And then I have another image too that we can play around with that I also thought was really pretty on Midjourney, and it's totally different aesthetic, and we can play around with that and see what we get. But and let me know, I'll check back while we're letting that run. I'll see if there are any more questions. Oh, the cheat sheet is awesome. Yay, you're so welcome. Awesome. Yeah, so let me know if you guys have any questions, or if you have any images of your own that you want me to mess with. I'm certainly happy to. We can play around with it and see what we can create. And Midjourney has decided to go slow because it knows we're watching it. So that's fine. So let's go back while we're waiting for that to run. Let's go back and let's look at the other image that I wanted to play with, because I thought it was really cool. This one, look at this. I love this so much. It's so fun. So for this one, I was thinking like maybe this is like an image that we would use as a style reference for like this, maybe this is something the client gives you as like an image for like a music service or something like that, like music streaming service or something, I don't know, and they're trying to appeal to like a younger demographic. And yeah, so I kind of thought, or maybe older. I mean, I think this image is cool, like maybe Gen X, I don't know, but I kind of thought it was neat. And some things I'm noticing about it, besides the color scheme, it's got this interesting sort of filter over it, this interesting kind of like oh, what's it called? It's not pixelation, but like it's got this kind of like vibe over the whole image, which would be a really, really difficult thing to prompt for, but I bet we can mimic it if we use it as a style reference. And then, you know, of course, you know, the color scheme and the kind of like style of it, like everything's sort of like shiny and polished, and you know, I mean, it's got this sort of retro futuristic vibe. So anyway, so let's go ahead and grab the image URL for this too. And let's go back to create. Uh-oh. Hello, Midjourney. We don't know what it's doing. Okay, so it's going to do its thing, I'm assuming. You know what? Let me try refresh real quick. Maybe that'll help. Oh, yay, there we go. There we go. Okay, so I prompted for gold leaf because that was in these images and in these images. But I mean, that would be a gorgeous background. That would be perfect. And it's tile, which is pretty great. So it's repeatable. So you could use it as full background, or you could repeat it. And I mean, like this one's, that's amazing. So you can start to see, if you spend a little time just playing around and being creative, you can start to see if you're building a website for someone and, you know, this is the main product, or this is the thing that you're kind of working around, and you're using images like this to show it off. And again, assuming this is their vibe. I mean, if they're like, if this is like a silicone ring and it's actually meant for like outdoor active use or something, then that's a different thing. But assuming that this is their vibe and their brand, you've got background images that look like this. You've got simpler background images that look like this, that you can put text over, that you could put an overlay over. You've got some close-up images where you could use things like that next to other things. It all matches. It all looks amazing. I love this stuff so much. This is the kind of stuff that was just not possible until recently. You know, icons above different features of the jewelry or whatever, and then like backgrounds that look like this. That's just next level. So, okay. So we've played around with this one a lot. So let's play with the other one and see what we can come up with. So let's paste that image in there so we have it. And then let's make sure it's the style reference. And then let's head back to Claude and let's say, okay, so let's assume it's a music service. So what kind of things are they going to want? So we're going to say, use this prompt structure. And I'm going to have to edit this again. So let's make that go away. So we're going to paste that. So use this prompt structure to create. Let's say, I mean, let's kind of go with the same. Let's kind of go with the same vibe to create an outdoor retro futuristic party where people are wearing. Oops. People are wearing headphones and dancing. The vibe is what is the vibe? Exuberant, cool, hip to the new things. Okay, let's see what that does. Oh, and I'm going to have to edit it to say, oh, great. And it kept it in paragraph 2. Good, 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 good. Sleek rooftop garden. All right. All right, Claude. Now, obviously, I'm using Claude to help because we're just kind of playing around. If I were doing work for a client, I would be a lot more intentional about all these things. You can still ask Claude for help, but then I would read through and be like, my client really isn't sleek, or I don't know about LED strips. That's kind of weird, or, you know, whatever. Atmosphere radiates pure joy and individual expression. Okay, I don't know. Let's see what happens. So let's go back to Midjourney and put that in. And then again, we're going to say S-weight is 20. And we're going to say, because we're going to probably use this as a background image, we're going to say aspect ratio is widescreen. And let's see what it does. And then again, let's go ahead since we're here and we'll say website icons. And we're just going to keep it at that. Let's say isolated. And then we're going to use this as style weight. And we're going to say S-weight 20. Icons, sometimes you can go up a little bit, but we'll see how it likes it. Okay, so these might be too outrageous for what the client wants. So let's take a look at some of these close up. So it kept the color scheme. I'm not seeing that effect. Oops, look at, see, Midjourney is like, I don't know what to do with people in headphones. It's weird. Oh, that's kind of interesting too. That's kind of fine. I'm not quite seeing the effect that I want. I would probably run this again and up the weight. And let's make sure we add the photo, and then let's up the weight to, let's put it on 40 and see what happens. And let's do aspect ratio again, 16.9. And then because I think the people are kind of distracting in this one, because I think this could be, I think what we want is actually an image like this, but without the people. I would probably also clean up this prompt. And yeah, I would probably also clean up this prompt to take the people out. And then I would probably get the background images that I wanted. And these are the icons. All right, Midjourney, you have lost your mind. Interesting how it did things on perspective. Actually, that could be really cool. That could be really cool. Icons that actually don't face forward. I'm kind of loving that a little bit. And of course, what you would do is just take this and put it in Canva and remove the background. That's what you would always do with these. I'm kind of in love with that. Obviously, this wouldn't work. I mean, these three kind of would. I really like that it's turned things to the side. That's kind of interesting. That looks like I don't imagine this would work. That looks like it's for baby toys or something. That's kind of interesting. Maybe. Again, I mean, you'll just know depending on what the client is and what their brand aesthetic is. Okay, and these are not bad either. Again, I think let's try running this without the people, and I think we'll get a little bit better results. So let's keep it as oh yeah, that's why we changed this, is because we were looking at the texture. It's better, right? Texture's better. This is closer to what I wanted. And again, we could probably prompt for that. Oh, you know what? Oh, let's do that. Let's actually do that. Let's say describe, and then let's put this image in there and let's see what it does. Oops, failed to submit. Prompts starting with are not accepted. That's can you not? Surely you can. Should we just say describe? This is my let's try that. And let's see what it does. Okay. And so let's see how it would actually describe that effect, because then we can use that. We can put that in our prompt. But while we're waiting, let's go ahead and use this and take out the people, party goers wearing iridescent jumpsuits. That's hilarious. I would say let's take, during golden hour transitioning to dusk. So it kind of said blue hour even. That's kind of interesting. Oh, I like the cityscape. Okay, so the image, oops, is captured from a dynamic low angle. Fine. Okay, and so let's say S-weight, let's say 30 this time, just for giggles. Let's make sure we get that image in there. This is a background image. I don't think we want to say tile just yet because we're still getting really specific. Let's say aspect ratio, oops, 9. And then we can do some tile backgrounds too, but let's see what this did. Oh yeah. Oh, I wonder, I don't know how to do this actually. And I would do this in Discord. Do you guys want to see what it looks like in Discord really quickly? So if I go to Discord and we say describe, and let's let me grab the link. Copy image address, and then we say link, and then we paste it, and let's see what it does. And we'll let that think, and let's look at the rest here. I mean, these are fun. This was kind of what I was wanting for the other prompt, like sort of background, like generic background that didn't have people in it. That's kind of fun. That's kind of interesting. These are all kind of fun, actually. You can tell it's trying to mimic that style of the actual image. Let's get rid of this so I can scroll up. And it still says that starting thing, so let's refresh. Interesting. It didn't take the people out, so I would have to mess with that again. But we're getting close to an hour in. I wanted to break and see if you guys had any questions. But do you see kind of how it works? And I have a few more slides to go through where I talk about actual website images. But I mean, isn't this cool? I mean, like it would just, if you were trying to prompt for this without using references, it would just be impossible. So let's go to Discord. Yay. Okay. So it says, when you tell it to describe something, it gives you 3 or 4, sorry, options, and you can see how it's describing each one of these. And what I would normally do is just hit, this button will create all 4 of them. It'll run all of them. If you're reading them and you know you only want to run like 1 and 2, you can just say 1 run or 2. Oh, imagine all, that's what it is. Sorry, this is to repeat that prompt, actually. You want to say imagine all, and it'll run all 4. And then you can compare the results that you get to each one of these and figure out what you need to change to make it work more for you. This is a fantastic technique to get similar images. So yeah, okay. So I think let me go through the rest of the slides real quick. Let me come back to you guys and see if you had any other questions. No questions yet. Okay. All right. I'm going to keep going. We're going to wrap up here. Okay. So now let's look for actually how to prompt for all these things, because I went into detail in this too here so that you have guidance on like how to think about these. So I kind of think about website images in like 3 different kinds of ways. You kind of, every time you're sitting down to do a website project or any project, social media, anything, you're kind of generally creating 3 different kinds of shots. So the first one is like wide and medium shots. These are environment shots. These are shots where you're getting space for text, or you're setting the scene. You're kind of grounding the viewer in the feel, style, and tone of the site. And this is where you're going to want to create widescreen images. This is going to be backgrounds on the site, that kind of thing. It's worth considering if you want to emphasize people or the environment, or people in the environment. Like, do you want to show people using the product, or do you want to show the product isolated in the environment? It kind of depends on what it is, but it's worth kind of tossing that around. So that's the first kind of shot, is big, wide, medium shots. Then more close-up shots. These are less about scenery or environment and more about a subject. And that's where we really start to tell the story of the site, because you want to choose subjects that start to tell the story of whatever the site is about. That's when you zoom in on certain things. So if like you're doing, like it's that shoe photo shoot, you maybe want to have close-ups of the runner and like sweat on their brow or something like that, or you want to have close-ups of like the shoe but actively running and like the calf muscle working, because depending on what you're trying to show, what kind of story you're trying to tell. But if you're trying to tell the story that these are like athletic performance shoes, those are the kinds of things you're going to want to talk about, or show and demonstrate. Okay. And then they're usually zoomed in, showcasing features or products of the service. Mock-ups is another example. And then the third kind of imagery is like textures and graphics. So backgrounds and patterns to give textures to your site, icons, graphics, illustrations, all of this stuff, words as text. Abstract photos. This has been a really fun trend. I have this actually all over my website, Swayrise, is double exposure images, or images that are like pinhole images, or images that have so much movement that the subject is blurry. That stuff is really trendy and kind of fun right now, and Midjourney is perfect for creating that kind of stuff. And then consider if you want it like kind of flat, if you want things 3-dimensional, words as design elements, that kind of stuff. So those are the 3 things you're generally going to want to prompt for. If you play around in each of those 3 categories, you're going to end up with a stellar suite of images to choose from for your project. And then how to prompt for them. I mean, you saw me do some of this already, but backgrounds, textures, patterns, Midjourney reacts pretty well to these. If you want to get like what I was trying to get with the icons, but maybe you wanted to get isolated images. So it's how I got this image of the flower, is I used the main image I was telling you on our banner of the style reference, but then I said ping image of a single flower with no background. And you can also say isolated. Midjourney understands that too, pretty much. And that's how you'll get like a single flower. And there will still be a background, because Midjourney can't actually create an image with no background, but you just upload it to Canva and take it off. And then website icons, ticket icons, web banner, hero images. Midjourney is surprisingly good. If you prompt for a web banner or a hero image, it knows what that is, and it knows that you kind of want to put the subject off to the side and have room for text. So even if you're doing that not for a banner image, but for somewhere else on the site, it's pretty good at that. Graphic elements. This is a good way to just get fun random stuff. I put in that flower image as the style reference with a weight of 20 and just put in graphic elements, and I got this. I just thought that was cool. And then you can prompt for outlines, line drawings, like sketch stuff if you're doing sort of a scrapbook image thing. So that is the bulk of my content. Don't forget your cheat sheet. Make sure you have your, make sure you get that here. And the slides you should have access to. Again, if you want to learn more, I can't recommend Rory's course enough. It's so good. It is, in my opinion, a $2,000 course, and it's under 200 bucks. And it's just stellar. He tells you so much about prompting and everything. He's amazing. And I think that's my, oh, and this is all my info. I have YouTube channel. I have a free Facebook group. Please join me on any of these places. I would love to see you there. And let me know, what do you guys have any questions, any thoughts, anything that you want to know before we close? This was so much fun, guys. I hope this was helpful. Let me know if this was helpful in the chat. And if you start trying things and you have questions or it's weird or bizarre, please reach out to me. Let me know your results. You know, if you share anything on social media, tag me, let me know. I can't wait to see it. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate it. This was awesome and wonderful. And let me know, like I said, reach out, message me if you have any questions. I hope you have fun playing with this stuff, and I hope it makes your clients happier and brings you more money. All right.